What's up, investors? It's the Russian dude. Let's get straight to the point. Talk about some ridiculous Russian propaganda. Yes, mysteriously I have my hair back. But long story short, I found this old video of Shoigu when he used to be still a Minister of Defense of Russia. He basically is inspecting a factory where Sus, Russian fighter jets, are being produced. He's walking around almost like completely unaware, it looks like, what's happening, asking questions, what's this, what's that, is this a ship? No, Minister of Defense, this is a plane. And then he was even being advised, looks like, by his advisors to say some things. Something like, you need to construct more planes and you need to construct them faster. Did I say it right? Then he asks. Long story short, then he comes back, I guess, to Kremlin, he presents his findings, he presents this in the form of a summary to other ministers, and judging that almost no one is even taking notes, the information that Sergei Shoigu is presenting, it kinda looks like meaningless information. That's pretty much it. And while this is the state of the Russian aircraft industry, well, Ukrainians are actually making some rapid advances also in the very same industry, and primarily they are focusing on the drones, specifically on drones which are being controlled by the artificial intelligence, and one of the most recent development is literally so-called swarm of smaller AI drones which will be just flying along next to each other according to the plan, jamming the radars and other electronic warfare equipment systems of Russians, which then later allows the free passage to bigger drones which are already carrying cargoes and big surprises. And even though, yes, the human factor will still need to be present during these AI drones flights, because just in case if there are targeting errors, the person needs to adjust those targets, not to attack something which they're not supposed to attack. I mean, yes, it makes sense, but the primarily responsibility of AI drones will be just in case there is a lost connection between a drone operator and the drone itself, to continue its passage all the way until the final destination. We even have this, one of the earliest videos of AI Ukrainian drone, which was able to distinguish this car, and whenever car was making a U-turn, the drone simply made a U-turn as well. Ukrainians are even developing one of the very first jet engine powered drone called Bullet, which will be used to intercept much bigger drones of the Z army and potentially even helicopters. And then even another naval drone called Stalker 5.0 was recently presented in Ukraine. It can reach the speeds of up to 75 km per hour, which is a very big speed for a drone on the water. Even if there are waves, it can carry a cargo of 158 kilograms and the range of 600 kilometers. And guess what? Where do you think Ukrainians will be using these naval drones? The answer is relatively obvious. The Crimean Bridge. Because as of right now, it does look like that Ukrainians are preparing for their future attacks against the Crimean Peninsula, primarily also targeting the Crimean Bridge itself, and also with the arrival of F-16s, which, as we know, reportedly they did come to the territory of Ukraine last week. This will be the primary focus of the Ukrainian army once again in the near future. One of the very first things Ukrainians were doing and still do is the targeting of Russian air defense systems on the peninsula, so they pretty much clear the way for the next drones so they can fly deeper and deeper on the territory of the peninsula. Another thing what they were doing is scaring Russian military vessels until the point when almost all of them left and came to the port in Novorossiysk, for example. If I'm not mistaken, according to the publicly available data, it is literally only one caliber carrier right now of the Z army in the Black Sea and zero, not a single one of them in Azov Sea. And since we all know how much of a symbol the Crimean Bridge is for Putin, literally if this bridge is destroyed or severely affected, this will make Putin to be extremely concerned, to say the least. So basically, yeah, it kinda makes sense that if the hostilities will continue, Ukrainians will put some effort into fighting on the territory of the peninsula, because if at some point there will be even peace negotiations in the future, and if Ukrainians will be able to provide massive pressure against Crimea, this can become their the biggest bargaining chip. And even though also reportedly those F-16s which came to Ukraine, they will most likely, at least for now, be used in the rear, just to serve as an air defense, if Ukrainians see that their raid against Crimean Peninsula is successful and is very promising, those fighter jets may very well to be used in the Crimean missions as well. And so, since there is not that many air defenses of Russians left, since there is not that many just in general protection, since even Russians themselves stopped using the bridge that much, and instead they started building a railway connecting Rostov-on-Don, Mariupol, and in the future potentially Melitopol. So as you can see, they kinda accepted the fact that Ukrainians will attack the bridge at some point in the future, so they're not paying that much attention to defend it. And instead, the place where they do, specifically Putin, where he does pay attention, the places which he wants to protect, guess what? Are his own dachas. Recently, 2 more air defense systems called Panzer were spotted next to his dacha in Valdai, and they are located approximately 3 kilometers away from Putin's palace. And then another also brand new Panzer air defense was spotted approximately 10-15 kilometers away from another Putin's dacha, this time in Sochi. And here is the most interesting thing. There are only 2 things which Putin is scared of. The thing number 1 is his life. The thing number 2 is him losing power. I don't think he cares about anything else much anymore, right? So these dachas, which are relatively close to Ukrainian front lines, these are the places which you can already see that Ukrainians' drones, they can reach those cities and settlements. Well, without a doubt, for as long as hostilities continue, Putin will never reside in these dachas anymore. This will literally be just abandoned buildings. And yet, he brings modern air defenses to protect literally just stones, wood, and glass. Like, it's not gonna be people there. He's only wanting to protect his dachas. There are obviously also several more residences and palaces of Putin all the way across Russia, and just according to several more satellite images, it has been calculated that a total of 7 more Panzer air defenses were placed to protect those premises, and 11 early warning systems, so-called basically radars, were also placed, such as S-300, S-400 defense complexes, and so on. So basically, as you can see, almost 20 air defense systems were placed to protect Putin's dachas, places where he does not even live. And instead, there are cities such as Kursk, Belgorod, even Rostov-on-Don, which at this point almost daily or weekly are under the attack. Well, are there air defenses there? No. Why would Putin care about protecting his people when he can protect his dacha in Valdai or in Sochi? It just does not make sense to Putin. Obviously, these are the things which Russian propaganda will never talk about, because, at this point Russian people will start wondering, is his building, his houses, his palaces of Putin are more worth to him than the lives of his own citizen? I'm gonna answer this question for them. Yes, Putin does consider palace to be more worthy than the lives of people. But at least for now, Russian people still don't know it yet. This could be one of the reasons why there are still no protests on the street. Because as soon as this information comes to the minds of the Russian people, well, the change is inevitable. Well, there you have it, guys. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel if you found this video interesting and informative for both. If you want to watch these episodes fully uncensored and in early access and hundreds other benefits, please go ahead and check my Patreon. Other useful links are down below: PayPal, Instagram, and merch. Thanks so much for watching. See you tomorrow.
All night long, Russian dude, the Russian dude, he'll drink and dance and never break.